This film contains adult language. There are 17 swear words carefully placed throughout. Kids, can you find them?
Hey there, guys and gals. You're listening to the Tempest Universe. This is the Tempest Universe.
We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to service us. Resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile. Welcome to Tempest Universe. I am your host, Manny, formerly Manny Moonraker. But, I don't know. I've decided to drop the Moonraker part. Only because the 007 movies, just like a dark cloud over them right now. I don't know. But I'm a 007 fan, and that's why I went with Moonraker and not Octopussy. Because it would be kind of strange to run a UFO space podcast and be named Manny Octopussy. I'm just saying. That's where I went with that. This is the Tempest Universe, formerly UFO Buster Radio, for those of you who are confused about what's going on. The first thing I got to open with is the fact that more and more I see that ufology is a religion. For fuck's sake, what the hell is going on? Every long-haired geek that comes on the scene has a set of followers that takes what they say as religion. No, you're just regurgitating the same shit everyone in ufology has been talking about for like 50, 60 years. But because you look like John Lennon, all of a sudden, hey, you've got the word of ufology on your side. Book 2, Psalm 33. I don't get it. I don't get this anymore. I don't. I'm just going to go, instead of doing podcasting, I'm just going to go and be a greeter at Walmart and sell t-shirts there as people walk out, and I pat them down for their damn receipts. Because I'll be angry about it. I'm not even going to lie about it. I'll be the angriest fucking Walmart greeter you've ever come across. I'll tackle a fucker. Honestly, I will. Who cares? By the way, just on a good note, the contest is on. I went on Amazon today. Avi Loeb's book is again out of stock. And I've got 3 books sitting right here behind me. Bugs has got his crotch on them right now because he's guarding them. He is rubbing his business on it to make sure no one touches those books. But they're waiting for you, bug business and all. 2 of those books are going to go in the contest that's in the description right now. The very first link, it says, click here. You can go in there. Put your email, because I got to contact you somehow to let you know you won. And then you have opportunities by sharing the podcast, joining the podcast, subscribing to earn even more entries into the contest, which ends February 28th at midnight. 2 of those books are going to go to some of you happy-go-lucky listeners. One of those books I decided just out of the blue, because Monday fucking sucks. Some of you guys are on Tuesday already. Hell, some of you, by the time you listen to this podcast, you're almost on damn Wednesday. You're almost on hump day already. But those of you who are listening, I decided that the tinfoil hat contest will be where the 3rd book goes. Along with maybe some dirty pictures of bugs that he's going to autograph. And some other stuff that I can get together from UFO Buster Radio, some stuff, whatever I got available for the Tempest Universe at the time, and shit from Texas stuff. I will send you a goddamn jalapeno if I need to with my autograph on it. Not that my autograph means anything, I'm just saying. Just for fuck's sake. There's Bugs in the background. He's certifying it, snoring while he's got his junk on the books. I'm just saying. You don't have to spend anything but time to take advantage of this contest. And letting people know, like-minded people, that they can win this book as well. Let's be honest. That really is what this is all about. It's about sharing the podcast, but at the same time, bringing folks like yourselves on here to listen so that we can talk about what's happening now. Nobody gives any fucks about what happened 30 years ago. We're done with that. History is in the books, as they say. We're talking about now. We're talking about freaking candy-shaped freaking UFOs. We're talking about people getting abducted and probed on the daily. We're talking about space because we love Elon, because he's got this great yell whenever one of the starships blows up. That's what he does in my head, but I'm sharing it with you. That's what the podcast is about. We got 4 articles that we're going to talk about today. But in those articles, one of them, I have a mission for you. Because the podcast started out as a blue-collar expression about the questions that a regular day Joe would have about ufology and now space and now the paranormal. It is an avenue for you to be encouraged to ask questions. But we'll get to what I'm talking about in just a moment, because the mantra will always be no fucks are given. And if you are going to talk about it, be about it. We'll find out. We'll get to that in a moment. Before we get into the first track for today, because you don't get this in any other fucking podcast. You don't hear music, whether you like it or not. Some of the music, listen, I pick it because I enjoy it, and I notice some of you will enjoy it as well. It's not always, your cup of tea, based on wherever the fuck you're at. I don't know. Texas tea, UK tea, I don't know. But it's still something that kind of breaks up the monotony. Like, you can go to a podcast and watch some pencil neck geeks talk about shit for hours, 3 fucking hours, and they talk about the same thing the whole damn time. It's not going to happen here, because we're talking about contemporary news. We're talking about what's happening today. And if there's new information about the shit that happened 50 years ago, for fuck's sake, we'll cover it because it's new. Otherwise, you're not going to really hear about Roswell unless something really fascinating happens to that story, which, as the years go on, it gets less and less likely that that's going to be the case. But I want to give a shout out, first of all, to Texas Hellfire. I got some new intros from Texas Hellfire. Listen, the Moonraker, the ex-Moonraker, man, he is kind of busy on the weekends because, I do all kind of shits, literally. And I didn't get a chance to edit the intro, but I will have you on this next week. If you guys have an intro you want to submit, let me know, and I'll get it. I'll work it in there eventually, for sure. But I want to thank the folks in the following cities. Since February 1st, today is the 8th, these cities have been killing the shit out of the episodes, playing them like crazy. Midland, Texas. I'm not going to lie. This is the truth. But I actually, 2 weeks ago, was looking at property in Midland, Texas. It was like a big-ass property. I figured I could have a Tempest Universe compound. Live off the grid. Have Elon bring that, Starlink service in there. Get some of that electric power from the sun through Tesla's, solar panels and shit like that. Live completely off the grid in Midland, Texas. That's what I was thinking about. And unfortunately, the internet service is still for those people that wear leaves. And I'll have to wait a little bit longer because I can't have a compound for the podcast if, I can't get the essentials like internet. Fort Worth, Texas. Again, surprise, surprise. Vancouver, Canada. Cayman, Arizona. Columbus, Ohio. Dublin, Ireland. I just like the way Ireland sounds. Monroe, North Carolina. This one, for fuck's sake, how could this be in Ireland? I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm gonna let you have it. Droitched Nua. I feel like this really should be in Africa, but I don't know. Reseda, California. Sydney, Australia. And actually, if I look day by day, there are so many towns, provinces, or whatever in Australia that are listening to the podcast. I feel like Dave should be our emissary in Australia and have like a get-together where everyone in Australia just comes together and listens to the podcast episodes. with Dave as the emissary. Like, we'll dress him up like a monk, why not? And he can be out there just leading the masses in Australia. Because, I just came up with it. Countries, United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, India, Mexico, Sweden, Thailand, and New Zealand. And don't forget Russia. They're in there as well. Please don't mess up my computer system. I can't deal with that anymore. We don't need all of that. We really don't. Please. Lastly, what's up to the guys who are in the live chat? Now, one of the things that you can do as far as getting points or getting entries into the contest for the Avi Loeb books is that you subscribe to Spreaker, the podcast host, which really is the podcast host for this podcast. And actually all the other ones, the Dark Horde as well, and UFO Buster Radio. The difference is between listening here and maybe on iTunes or iHeart or Spotify or even on YouTube is that when I go live, it will be here first. So these guys that I'm about to mention, the Asgardians, are here right now with me as I'm doing the podcast. Green Man, The Norm, who had a bit of a hiatus for a little bit, but he's back again. Pikey, the Puckinator, great pictures from Africa. And Dave, hello. I just said Dave, the emissary from Australia. I mean, we're gonna pack up Dave, put him in that nun outfit. I mean, not nun. Like, I don't know. What can we do? How can we dress up Dave? But we'll pack him up, ship him up real good, and send him over to like maybe Sydney or Victoria, and just have him have a good time with everybody who's listening to the podcast. I mean, that's my idea. I don't know. He might not go for it, but for fuck's sake, what can you do? We're about to get started. I think I've talked enough. I need another shot of my vodka, but this is where we're at right now.
You don't have to go now. I won't let you down.
I realized it's been a while since I've given an update on Bugs the UFO Hunter. So a few months ago, and those of you who haven't listened to UFO Buster Radio, this is probably new for you, so welcome aboard. This is where the rubber dicking starts. UFO Buster Radio has a mascot by the name of Bugs the UFO Hunter. He's a Boston Terrier. He's like on the biggins side. He's not like one of those little, little tiny Boston Terriers, all lanky with long fucking legs and tiny. No, Bugs gives no fucks. He's on steroids. And apparently, a few months ago, he was running like he normally does. Like probably a lot of you guys have dogs that do this. Like the neighbor's dog is on the fence, so what'd you do? You run up and down the fence, peacocking the neighbor's dog because, it's your neighborhood, not the neighbor's. Well, unfortunately for Bugs, the neighbor has like 4 fucking dogs. He has a plethora of dogs. All different kind of sizes. It's like a fucking zoo over there. A circus of dogs. And so, Bugs is out there peacocking up and down the fence and, I don't know. Something went wrong. I don't know if he tripped, he fell, he crashed right into the post at the end of the fence. I don't know what it is. But he blew out a disc in his lower back. Like literally, he crawled his ass back all the way back to the patio. And it was the saddest thing to see, to be honest. So a surgery later and lots of snores that you hear him in the background. Bugs is back at 79%, maybe 80 at best. But he's got this limp when he walks. It reminds me of Ice Cube. Like he's badass when he walks now. Before he was like, happy-go-lucky. But now he's got this limp that makes him like a badass. He really does. And that's the update. So, Bugs he's doing what he does. Do I see him chasing down E.T. anytime soon around Texas? No, not at all. But with that limp, for fuck's sake, he was scared the shit out of E.T. at the drop of a dime. I'm thinking I need to get him like some kind of a pistol, something really, really mean, and maybe put some gold teeth on him. The first article is about the guy that we have a contest about. The books are gone. These books are going like crazy. You guys don't even have to believe me. Just look up Avi Loeb. Just look at, there's so many articles. The dude is freaking everywhere I can't. Popular Mechanics. All these guys, all these publications are going nuts over what Avi Loeb is saying. The very first article today says that, Avi Loeb is not fucking around. Like he's serious about this. Maybe to the point that he even gave up his Harvard career. Who the fuck does that? Now, and I was thinking about this today, specifically. And that is, normally we hear about dudes who were in government, that they were, working on secret missions and all this kind of shit, secret projects, 30 feet underground and shit. But most of them talk about it when they are about to die. And we complain about that these guys wait until their last breath, to have an interview. They got the freaking oxygen attached to them. They could barely see, blind as fuck, have no hair, have cancer-ridden bodies, and they wait until the very last moment to say, this is what I experienced. Here's a few pictures for you to be happy about it. But Avi Loeb's not doing that. He's doing it now. I think he's like in his late 50s, but his book is making the rounds. And as soon as I saw he was making his book, I had to grab it. I had, besides the fact that Bugs has been dry humping it, I had to get this for you guys and put it to a contest. Because I got to share it with you. There's a reason for that. Because we can't continue to think that UFOs, aliens, and everything that comes attached to it is just a common person's myth. It's not. It's a real shit we're talking about. A lot of people listen to UFOs and podcasts and alien podcasts. They might come away as, well, all of this stuff is so circumstantial. There's no real evidence. For fuck's sake, if your government is spending so many decades, hiding the fact that they're looking into it, millions and millions of your money in order to research it. This is not fake. It's not fake news. Some of it gets lost in translation, right? Because we have rubber dickers like Pareidolia Pete, Scotty Waring, and maybe Third Phase of Moon, who really fuck people over by making these stories more than what they really are, on just, anecdotal evidence. But we can't accept that anymore, because more and more we're getting closer to the fact that our governments need to fess up, because we're tired of it. That doesn't mean that we're going to have this moment where we're going to stand up and rise and, flip over cars and go up against the establishment, because that's not going to work. We already know that. But we know it's around the corner when you have people like the ex-Harvard professor Avi Loeb coming out and saying, hey, this is real. We're talking about a guy who previously collaborated with Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking, who at the end of his years said, maybe we should be sending our message to aliens because we will get all probed and we'll be fucked. That literally, he says no. He said that one of the last things he said was, no, stop sending messages, because you have no idea who the fuck is going to answer them. Here's a guy, a genius, telling us that he's reaching into the ET area of discussion and telling us from his wheelchair, stop fucking around. No, don't send messages. You have no idea who the hell's going to answer. I'm telling you, just really put it all together. It's not myth. It's not a lie. It's a true story. That's why I feel that Avi Loeb's book should be out there, circulating. Avi is 58 years old, believe it or not. So he's not someone that's on his deathbed. He's got, I'm pretty sure he's pretty sharp still. But he says, stop dismissing things. Stop dismissing things like Oumuamua. Don't do it. It's a fucking scout. It came from another civilization. Yeah. First discovered back in October 2017, Oumuamua, to many people, was known as the first interstellar object. But apparently there's been a lot more. We're just too close-minded, right? Because we were expecting to see a tail. We were expecting to see all these things happening for it to be either an asteroid or a comet. But all of a sudden, here comes Oumuamua and changes that. Well, it seems like it's the first time we actually paid attention. Avi goes as far as saying that we are mistaken to think that we are unique and special, privileged, because that just means that we are entirely arrogant. We're not special. We're just a flea, a tick on the ass of the universe. So we need to stop thinking there's no life anywhere else. He goes on to say this, and here's a quote: the correct approach is to be modest and say we're nothing special. There are lots of other cultures out there, and we need to find them. Oumuamua was never photographed close up during the brief sojourn. We only learned of its existence once it was already on its way out of our solar system. That's how fast it was traveling. Nobody expected anything to be in space, naturally traveling that fast. But the professor says it wasn't natural. As a matter of fact, he goes on to say that what we need to do is create a new branch of astronomy called space archaeology. Space archaeology to be based on the hunt for biological and technological signatures for ETs. He says, here's another quote: if we find evidence of technologies that took 1 million years to develop, then we can get a shortcut into technologies we can employ them on Earth. All right, this is a little bit more of the reptilian guy, Stephen Greer, take on things, zero energy and shit. But let's be honest. We just spoke to John Williams doing the SETI search, looking for techno-signatures. Now, just like the question that I asked him, it is very difficult as mankind to search for alien techno-signatures because we only know what the fuck we got, right? We don't know what else is out there. Now, we only know what we know. Now, what's in secret, what the military is working on, and the secret government conspiracies, who knows what else they're working on that are, 2, 3, 4, 6 decades ahead of what we're using right now in our society. So maybe those fuckers need to be searching for techno-signatures because they know a lot more than we do. But at the end of the day, he's right. Now, unfortunately, Avi, I gotta say, how the fuck are we gonna do, space archaeology? What fucker is going to risk their life to get on top of a Muamua and probably not be seen ever again as it goes through whatever the hell trajectory is going to? I'm just saying. Just be honest about that. So a little bit more work on that. But these are the things that he talked about in his book. The book that's part of the contest. The book that you can potentially win. Stop screwing around. I heard this a lot during the Tempest, the UFO Buster Radio tinfoil hat contest number 2. Everyone would tell me, I'm going to enter today. Oh, maybe tomorrow. Oh, my wife used all the aluminum. Stop it. Don't screw around. Go in and enter. Book number 3 will go during the tinfoil hat contest number 3. And it's going to be amazing. Probably the most technology I've thrown behind a tinfoil hat contest ever will be number 3 starting in March. So get ready. Do it. Join the current contest for the book. All you can do is earn your chances to win the book. But on top of that, you'll be able to share this podcast with people who are like-minded who can come on here and talk some shit, especially with the Asgardians. They're going to town right now in the chat. They need someone to talk to be honest. I'm telling you. Just click it to win it. This article is in the description, just like everything else. The contest link is in the description, just like everything else. So, let's go on to the next track, and then we'll come back for the next article for today. By the way, there's a lot of cities all over the world that listen to the podcast. And one of them in particular, you guys who have listened to the podcast for a while or are part of the Discord group, which the link again, it's in the description. Come on, really? Join the Asgardians. That's where they hang out. But Buenos Aires, Argentina. Jeez, I cannot wait to get down there. My hope is that this year, the Wuhan virus will not be so bad. And the Moonraker can get down there to Buenos Aires, have some milanesa, and, enjoy the empanadas. And just enjoy, the city of Buenos Aires. Because I feel like that's where I'm going to retire eventually. Go down to, Buenos Aires. Maybe a little bit more south, to be honest. Buenos Aires, don't get jelly. Closer to where the German towns are so that I can track down some Nazis. That's my end goal. That's my end game in life. Track down the Nazis through Argentina and eventually get myself to Antarctica and uncover the truth while I'm freezing my ass off, to be honest. But we'll see. That's in the future. But this year, Buenos Aires, I'm coming for you. Maine. When I think of Maine, for those of you who don't know, I was born and raised in New York City. So when I think about Maine, I think about, lobster. That's all I think about. Little lobster hoagie rolls. Maybe some clam chowder, too. Love clam chowder. But I don't think about UFOs. I'm sorry. I really don't. Portland, Maine, of all places. It's a UFO hotspot. According to a newly declassified doc. Come on, let's not talk about the CIA nonsense anymore. I'm done with that. But here's a sighting back in August of 2014. I wasn't in New York at that point. 2014, I was actually here in Texas, in Dallas. But in August of 2014, there's a report here from Portland, Maine. A man walking his dog looked up at the night sky over the city. I would assume they're talking about Portland. That's when he saw a mystery. A group of white lights brighter than the stars, traveling faster than satellites, were skimming the tree-lined horizon just behind his apartment building. This is not Starlink, folks. This is 2014. He watched as the orbits abruptly changed direction and formation and pivoted 90 degrees and streaked away. They were gone in about 5 seconds, but his dog continued to stare at the sky where the lights had vanished for about another half minute or so. And that's pretty bad if you have a UFO sighting and your dog spots it. I mean, really. At this point, I can't imagine Bugs, a UFO hunter, ever spotting anything, in his condition right now. But he would scare the fuck out of them. If I put those, gold teeth on him and that thick chain, he'd get him. He'd scare the shit out of him. I'm telling you. The quote from this individual was, "I have never seen anything like this, and until now have been skeptical of UFO sightings." He reported this on NUFORC, the National UFO Reporting Center. I'm going to be honest. There was a point where initially I used to go to MUFON, the guys that deal with the kitty stuff. And I gave up on them because they were charging to search their data. And I decided to go to NUFORC. And there is so much information on NUFORC. But when you look at all that info, when you download those Excel sheets of reports that people are submitting all the time, and then when you sit back and you think about it, that's only a fraction. Because for fuck's sake, your lady, at McDonald's, who you see every lunchtime during the week, she doesn't give a fuck about NUFORC. She don't even know what the hell it is. The person at your local grocer or Walmart, you'd be amazed how many people have no idea what MUFON or NUFORC is. And to have this many reports in one place. And then think about how many people have no clue what the hell these places are. It's amazing. because that many reports are not being recorded anywhere. Okay, that really is the difference, right? If we really knew how many people really saw UFOs throughout the United States, throughout the UK, Australia, Canada, South Africa, just Europe in general, if we really record how many people of those in those populations actually saw UFOs, it would be probably more than even Newfork or MUFON can handle on their own. The reports in Maine date back all the way to 1946. I feel like in the 40s, we were in for a probing. I mean, these reports, everything starts in the 40s. What the fuck happened? It is really strange how people want to tie this to any world war. No, it's not. It is too wide. It's not just in the United States. It's everywhere. The 40s was basically where we jumped the fuck off the flat earth and we hit ourselves on the turtle's ass because that's where we got the wake-up call. But there are UFOs everywhere. Let's be honest about it. I don't want to hurt the feelings of any flat earthers, but that's my analogy, so just deal with it. Basically, it turns out that the Bangor Daily News, I thought this was out of India. For you guys who are in India, it's not you guys. I'm sure you guys have the Bangalore Daily News, but Bangor, same thing, party all the time. There have been nearly 1,000 such reports to the Bangor Daily News. This is a newspaper out in Maine. They've noted there is a steady rise since 2018, and there is a spike thanks to the pandemic. We've talked about this. You got nothing fucking better to do, especially early part, like a year ago in 2020, when we were at the height of the Wuhan disease. You guys knew. There was you didn't have shit to do. You were scared. You didn't want to go outside. Shit, most of your cities locked down. If your ass was caught after 7 p.m., you getting a fine. So you stayed home. What else you gotta do? It's spring, getting close to summer. Well, you go out to the patio, look up the damn stars, and smoke your weed. Drink your alcohol. Just sit there. But you saw things. And now you were like, oh, well, this is what everybody's talking about. That's why I see all these movies. Because of the stuff that's in the skies right now. So there was a spike thanks to the Wuhan disease. And it continues to today. And luckily, should I say likely? Luckily, we have the CIA giving up news. We have the so-called 180-day and counting for all these other organizations, alphabet soups and what have you, to give up UFO information. But all of that is building up to what we hope is a morsel, a tiny little bit of glimpse into what the real UFO story is. You're not going to get a whole lot. It's going to be all redacted, and you'll cry eventually when you see this, because if you looked at the CIA reports that were released a few weeks ago, it was sad on the inside, but there's a historical significance to them, because you can almost draw the line between history that we know and the history that we don't in those documents. So to an extent, they helped in some way, but a very, very, very small way, but enough to keep you interested and hooked at what the true story is. According to this article, Maine's earliest UFO report happened back in the first summer after World War II. A woman and her husband were eating lunch near the shore of South Portland when she had an overwhelming feeling of being watched. I get that all the time, but mostly as bugs. The unidentified woman then looked out into the blue sky during the daytime over the sea, and what she noticed was a dark oval shape hovering over the ocean. As she laid eyes on it, it shot up and out of sight. She recanted the story in 2008, and she says, I felt at the time, and still do now, that this was a flying saucer and have never forgotten the incident. And why would you? Because back when this happened, right after World War II, that would make you not want to pick up your big girl panties. That would make you just run the fuck out of whatever seashore place she was at eating lunch. Leave your big girl panties behind. It's time to run. But now it's 2021. We need to get to the bottom of this. Finally, somebody give us some answers. There are just too many stories that are not conventional aircraft, especially for when they're reported, for this to be all a bad human condition, for this to be all hysteria or psychosis. I mean, come on. Even Bugs agrees. Look at him. He's like started snoring like crazy. For fuck's sake. He's out of control. Let's play the next track. Then we'll get into the next story.
Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to redefine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and unbelievers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will feel free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, speak and how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
I will be honest. That's how I felt yesterday watching the Super Bowl. That was my attitude. I figured when I came across this song, I'm like, this is it right here. And actually, the Kansas City Chiefs, that's how they felt in the second half. They didn't give no fucks. They didn't. Like, they weren't even fucking playing. Are you serious? You made it to the Super Bowl, and you're going to just let this old man just run over to your ass? No, that's how I felt. And I was having a good time, like a first quarter, maybe halfway through the second quarter. I was still in it. I was still in it to win it. And they let me down, man. They let me down. But I could see it in their faces. They didn't give two fucks about playing the rest of that game. Penalties. Like, the only reason you get fucking penalties after a whole season and coming into the main game, the Super Bowl, and you start getting penalties is because you don't give no fucks. They were getting penalties after penalties. They were going around like, pinching the cheeks of the Buccaneers, talking shit in their face. People are watching you. The whole fucking world is watching you. Do you really think you're going to get away with that during the Super Bowl? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, they gave up. That's what happened. They gave up. That is their song for 2021 to 2022. That is their NFL season song. I don't give a fuck. When they come out at every game, I guarantee you that's what... Anyway, they need to change their fucking name, Kansas City Chiefs. Are you serious? They're not going to be the only teams that are going to get away with having an Indian name, for fuck's sake. Anyway, they ruined it. At least if they would have won the Super Bowl, they could have said, see, we can have a fucked up name like the Kansas City Chiefs, and American Indians should be happy about it. But no, you lost. In the worst way possible, you lost. Because you didn't give no fucks. I'm just saying, I just had to get that out. Okay, you can tell who I was rooting for, but they let me down. They hurt me. They cut me deep. Man, I can see it already. People complaining on YouTube that I've been talking too much. It's a Monday. Mondays suck. So I'm trying to shake it off. Online UFO sleuth who exposed hundreds of declassified CIA files says U.S. government knows more about aliens than they let on. Doesn't take a rocket scientist like Elon to figure that shit out, right? Let's be honest. We know this, man. We got it. Who we're talking about is John Greenwald Jr., and he's been collecting, as part of the Black Vault, all of these documents. But, the good thing about this guy, about Greenwald, is that not only does he run the website, not only does he grab these documents, but for fuck's sake, since 1996, John Greenwald has been submitting FOIA requests in the amount of 10,000 plus. Who the fuck has the time to do that? Who does this? For real. John Greenwald, you got that much time on your hands? 10,000 FOIA requests. And now, if you're looking for these CIA documents that were disclosed a few weeks back, where do you go to? The Black Vault. So there's a lot of work behind this. There's a history for John Greenwald and the Black Vault in disclosing this type of information. But even he says, and he's got to acknowledge, and so do all of us, that when these documents get disclosed, for fuck's sake, the redaction is unbelievable. Like, if there was any morsel of information in there, you need like an anti-redacting software to go in and physically get rid of the redaction somehow. And trust me, I've tried. I've tried using programs that edit PDFs to try to see if maybe the redaction was like a layer you could remove. No, somebody who handled that FOIA request is pretty damn good as a redactor. That's their fucking title. Expert Redactor 1. Because they're good at it. They'll make sure you don't get that information. 25 years experience under the belt of John Greenwald. And this is my thing. I would like to talk to John Greenwald. I would like to get him on here. Now, we've exchanged Twitter tweets in the past. But I want to launch a campaign. Fuck. This damn vodka's kicking in. I would like to launch a campaign, right? To get John Greenwald on the Tempest universe. So we could talk about his adventures in disclosing information. for requesting information. And maybe find out some of his frustrations in this. I mean, because you got to be fucking frustrated, right? 10,000 FOIA requests? Run a family, run a business, also run the Black Vault. That's a lot of time that I'm sure that many times he didn't have. Here's a snippet of what he used to do. He would wake up at 4:30 in the morning each day to investigate unexplained phenomena all over the world. Again, I ain't got that kind of dedication. Juggling his hobby, his day job running an online business, and the Black Vault. I can relate to that. You know, have a full-time job, come home, try to get the podcast going, and then do other shit after that. It is, I don't know. For me, it's a passion of knowing, a passion of investigating and trying to be in the know about things that are unexplained. I mean, I don't know what it is for John Greenwald, but we'd have to get him on here to find out. He says this, a lot of people get frustrated at that, and he's talking about the redaction, but that, to me, tells part of the story. Of course it does. You know, part of it is that they don't want to give names. They don't want to drop names that a person like John Greenwald can go back and research and get in contact with. He says it proves that the phenomena is real, that it's unidentified, and that it's highly classified. Whatever it is, they just don't want us to know about it. The article is about John Greenwald saying that they're hiding way more than what they're releasing. But let's be honest, wouldn't you? If you had a dirty little secret that you've been hiding for 5, 6, 7 decades, wouldn't you only release enough to satisfy those that want to know, without revealing the goods, the real information? Of course, you'd hold on to it. But what I want to do is get John Greenwald on here. I want to get him on here so we can chat about it. We can find out. We can ask him blue-collar type of questions. There is no doubt from his work history, his habits, trying to solve the UFO mystery, there is no doubt that he is blue-collar. That he's fighting to know while fighting to live. Because we know that the main distraction for UFOs, ufology, and what it takes to investigate this stuff is having a normal fucking life. Yeah, that is the truth. The Black Vault is where it's at. They've got all the documents. They put in the hard work to get the information released. So let's do it. This is when I rely on you guys. Ireland, the UK, Canada, United States, Australia, South America, Africa, for fuck's sake. Let's get on John Greenwald's Twitter and let's invite him. I'm going to do it too. Let's invite him to Tempest Universe. Let him know in whatever language you speak. It's time to get on here and let us know. What is it like to spend so much time, submit so many FOIA requests in order to get redacted documents? I laugh about it, but it's quite the labor to have to go through all that kind of stuff, to be honest. But definitely someone we'd like to have on the podcast. Fuck having some scientist, some pessimist geek who wants to talk about shit that we've been talking about forever, like freaking dark matter. Nobody gives a fuck about dark matter. Do you open your fridge and see dark matter? No. We want to know about what the government's hiding. We want to hear from someone who's made it an endeavor, who's made it a part of his life since 1996 to get the answer. So that's who we're reaching out to. To the Black Vault. To John Greenwald. I'm just saying. Why not? Check out the link in the description. It even talks about a bizarre incident about an explosion out in Russia For you guys who are listening from the Russian Federation, I see you on the data. Shit, don't fuck up my technology. I'm saying. In the 1970s, there was a dispute with a Bosnian fugitive who claimed to have made contact with aliens. This was in the declassified CIA files. I mean, I'm serious. There's a lot of shit in there. You just have to get in there and look at it. But it's a lot of damn pages, you know. And most of these pages are not searchable, to be honest, because they did them like photocopies, so they're up there like pictures, so you can't search for text. But he tried his best, actually. He does have one on there where he made it like readable or searchable. But it's difficult when you're dealing from shit from like back in the 70s. Ain't nobody had searchable fonts, to be honest. But check that out. Even the Russians were in the CIA disclosure of UFO incidents. Like, why wouldn't you take that shit seriously? I'm just saying.
Get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Start my day. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Drink some water, brush my teeth, get out of bed and I stretch. Bed in my hair is a mess. Look through my clothes for a fit. Anything I do is drip. I feel like a kid when I'm tick-tocking. I still keep it real as it is. I show my age, I don't switch often. I'm just as a dad as it gets. Try taking naps with my kids talking. I'm guessing this life how it is. And I can't wait for the weekend. Keep jammies on like I'm a kid. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Feel good, feel great, can't complain. Look out my window, see birds and planes. Sun's out, some clouds, it might rain. Siblings on my nerves again. Summertime, go for a swim. Wintertime, go grab a sled. Spring, I might need an umbrella. Fall back in school with my friends. Attitude change like the weather. My mom tell me it never ends. Like clocks, we evolve in a circle. Every 12 months we do it again. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day.
This film contains adult language. There are 17 swear words carefully placed throughout. Kids, can you find them?
I don't know. For some reason, that song just reminds me of Biden, Joe Biden. I don't know. I don't know what it is, because you can't compare it to Trump, because Trump right now, he's in hell right now. Okay, like no social media, no nothing. Like I haven't seen anything from Trump at all. He might be sitting in some cold shower somewhere in some kind of a Russian bathhouse, in a corner, just shriveled up, just crying. No social media, no Twitter, no Facebook, and I don't know. He's got things to think about, to be honest. I mean, but Biden, I see Biden like every morning at the White House getting ready. He's got this song playing. He's walking around in his boxers and stuff, all smiley. Got the twinkle coming off his teeth and shit. I don't know. It does. I'm hoping that I can get some good clips out of Biden because, for fuck's sake, no one could beat Trump as far as all the crazy shit he said. It was perfect for our podcast, but we'll see. I'm sure eventually someone's going to throw the gauntlet down, and Biden's got to say some crazy shit. Some crazy shit's got to come out of his fucking mouth. I'll be honest. NSA, by the way, is about 2 miles away from me, so I'm sure they're listening to this, laughing their asses off. The last article for today is really a reminder. And by the way, UAE, I know you're in my data as well. You guys are listening. The fun thing is that if I look at my data daily, I can actually see what town people are listening. We've got about 3 towns in India. God bless you. Thank you for listening. And you guys in the UAE, God bless America. Thank you for listening as well. Thank you for listening, UAE. Rich ass fucking country, to be honest. But anyway, the UAE has the hope. Reminder for everyone to keep your eyes peeled to the news regarding the UAE Hope, which is the probe that's going to be inserting itself, not in any kind of nasty way, into the Mars orbit. That's right, Hope is coming to Mars. And it's going to do all kind of stuff, testing the atmosphere and all kind of goodness, but they have to survive the insertion. They have to make it. They have to be able to get in it to win it. Over 200 days since Hope left to insert itself into the red planet. It's not going to deliver a rover. It's just going to hang out in the atmosphere. But it has to do it successfully. Otherwise, bada bing, bada boom, it's going to crash. That's all I'm saying. I'm just being honest with you. After that, China's going to be in there. The Tiawen, sorry, I don't speak Chinese. Tiawen 1 on Wednesday. For some of you listening to this, you're going to think, oh, Wednesday. No. Fuck's sakes, no. It's not your Wednesday, it's our Wednesdays here in the United States. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know. I'm just fucking with you. And then after that, NASA is going to be landing Perseverance, the rover, and the chopper. Get to the chopper. On Mars, around the 18th. We'll see what happens there. But tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or PT, whatever that is when the UAE, the probe Hope, is going to be inserting itself into Mars orbit. Best of luck. Hopefully you guys can do it. I think you could have done it cheaper by just stealing data from everybody else. But I understand pride and all that shit. You want to get your own probe inserted into Mars. So good luck with that. I'm gonna be looking at the news, to be honest, to see what the fuck goes down over Mars and whether or not the UAE is successful. And if it is, fantastic. Then we know that we've reached a new level of Mars insertion or a Mars invasion. Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to be able to get themselves into Mars. I feel like Mars is turning into like a dirty thing now. Sadly enough. Everyone goes into Mars. I just don't get it. This is just wrong. It is. So UAE, then China, and then US of A with Perseverance. And by the way, China, again, does have a robo slut on the Tiawen 1. So they'll be dropping in May. Like a little baby dropping out of the womb onto Mars. Hopefully, now here's the thing. I'm waiting for the country that's got the balls, that's got the cojones, the big ones, the elephantitis of the nads, to drop one of these some bitchin' probes or rovers into somewhere where there is signs of water or ice or whatever the fuck it is. Those places that we're interested in. Not just some fucking ass desert in the bottom of a crater, drop one of these sumbitches where we see the receding ice, where we see that there is water, even if it's in cycles. Stop fucking around. Come on. All this money spent on dropping shit into an empty crater in the middle of nowhere makes no fucking sense. Well, who makes the rules? That's what I want to know. I want to talk to them. Let's get them on there. But until the next podcast, everyone get together and get the Black Vote and get Greenwald, and let's get them on the podcast, because that's what I'm going to be doing starting tomorrow. I got a campaign going on, and get onto the contest, and you got to be in it to win it. You can enter daily, get more entries to win this book that right now it's out of stock. But I've got 3 for you. I promise you. This is the end of the podcast. And this next song is what I feel Elon sings in his head every time one of the starships blows the fuck up. It's a true story. I promise you.
distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to serve as us. Resistance is futile.